membership of the court is almost unprecedented in this country. I say almost because many people don't realize that our court has been of different sizes. We actually have had 10 justices. We've had as few as 6 justices. The number of justices is not set out in the Constitution. It's a matter for Congress to ultimately decide. But I don't think any president in modern history could have the type of impact that a President Trump or President Clinton could have.
It's really true, given the number of potential vacancies we're likely looking at. Professor Jonathan Turley, great to see you.
Thank you.
We are getting word now that that Donald Trump has arrived at his campaign headquarters just up the road here at the Hilton on 6th Avenue in Manhattan. What will he do? Will he speak? Will he come out?
Sean Spicer tweets,
stand by till tomorrow?
Trump about to take the stage at the Hilton in New York. Let's go to Carl Cameron and see what he knows.
Will he come out?
Sean Spicer
stand by till tomorrow?
Trump about to take. We can hear ourselves, but there's no Carl.
That Carl's hit was a little underwhelming.
Yeah. All right, let's take a... is he coming on the stage now? Do we know? Okay, so we just want to say hi to everybody, and that there's Carl Cameron,
right
there. Carl, can you hear me? Okay, so we just want to say hi to everybody, and that
All right, we're having some technical difficulties here. Don't worry, we're not going to let you miss Trump or whoever it is that's going to come out on this stage and speak to Trump supporters. But we're trying to get the lay of the land to find out whether we actually do expect him to do it. Now, as you know, Mr. Trump is not shy about going in front of the cameras. And he certainly was one of the most successful reality TV shows in modern American history. So perhaps he will seize the moment to come out and do things his own way, which has been his way, right? He doesn't care how people did it before. Why else would he have gone over there from Trump Tower, understanding the situation here? And Trump Tower is not that far away from the Hilton.
So we are going to stick around. Let's go. Dana, your thoughts about what he may be doing here?
Well, I was just thinking that over the last 18 months, every time I give what I think is really sound advice, it's like, yeah, you are so 2008 and no longer needed. Yeah, so maybe then it's just different and refreshing. Maybe he comes out and he says, imagine for a second if the shoe were on the other foot and I was the one that was not conceding at this point, what the media would be doing, and then just go on down that road like he's been. I mean, that is an option to him. Maybe he'll do something like that tonight. Plus, I think also he has genuine affection and appreciation for the people who are gathered there. Yeah. They believed in him from the beginning. They want to celebrate tonight. I remember what it was like at the Ronald Reagan building in 2004. 2 o'clock in the morning, we thought we were going to have our moment, and then all of a sudden, like, we got to go home, and we got to come back here at 10 o'clock in the morning. But he doesn't want to have to disappoint people.
He could go out, and, I mean, this could be kind of a middle position where he does go out and say, it's been an exciting night, and I want to thank all of you. But obviously, we have to wait for the final count tomorrow.
He'll probably do something in that middle like that.
Let's see whether Carl Cameron has got any information. We are apparently able to communicate with him now. Carl, do you know anything?
Hi, Megan. Yes, we know that he is now in the Hilton Hotel here. We know that he does want to come out and talk. We don't know exactly what he's going to say, but obviously he's got lots of good things to say. Mr. Trump has called his candidacy and his campaign a movement for the better part of the last year and a half. It's been met with a tremendous amount of skepticism and cynicism, even from Republicans in his own party. Today, a big part of that was patched up when Paul Ryan called Mr. Trump and Mike Pence, the running mate and governor of Indiana, and congratulated him for, at that time, what appeared to be a likely win. Now it's a virtual certainty. The question is when the networks all get their numbers synced. Others have called other races that Fox has not, and everybody is under the 270 threshold. The Trump campaign recognizes that the Podesta message that they're not going to concede tonight and they'll have more to say tomorrow is a bit of a taunt. It was the Clinton campaign that was suggesting that it would be Donald Trump who would be refusing to concede, refusing to accept the legitimacy of the election, mobilizing the cadre of lawyers and the airlift of attorneys to various different rural parts of half a dozen swing states to litigate the possible results. Now the question is whether or not that's what the Clinton campaign is doing. So I think we can expect Mr. Trump to make an overture to the defeated. to say that he's prepared to be the president of the United States for all folks, that Democrats, even those who adamantly opposed his candidacy, notwithstanding all of the name-calling that came from the left against him, that he will govern as an outsider, that he will approach things differently, he will not proceed along the normal candidate's path, that he'll listen to what the American people want, and he'll act accordingly. It is a potential moment for him tonight to offer an olive branch, to reach out to Democrats who are tonight despondent. There is very little way one can overemphasize how shocked half of the electorate is. This is going to come down into a popular vote possible win for Clinton and an electoral college win for Donald Trump. That's the kind of thing that can really aggravate the defeated opposition. So it's time for him to start being really presidential, because he's on the precipice of pulling off the victory.
And what a victory it will be. Carl, good to see you. And so he is ignoring Dana's advice and coming out to speak to the crowd, not afraid of an anticlimactic moment at all, just priming the pump and getting the people ready for the big event tomorrow, which, you know, now feels inevitable. And the question is whether, even if Trump in a speech, Monica, can reach out to the other side, to the defeated, which we've seen him do. He's not bad at delivering these speeches that we presume others help him with, right? Who try to keep him on message. What's going to happen over the next 6 weeks as we gear up for the inauguration? And he has a very skeptical media, public, her supporters who are not prepared to give him the benefit of the doubt and who are going to continue to launch, theoretical grenades at him.
Well, I think it's going to be very interesting to watch. Donald Trump is going to stay true to himself, but I also think, and we were talking about this earlier, that the job changes you and the magnitude of the responsibility of the job changes you. Let's start with tonight. I think Donald Trump's approach tonight, as it's been throughout this campaign, is never to let Mrs. Clinton dictate what he's going to do. So that's why you're going to see him emerge tonight. I also think that he's going to express gratitude. I think he is going to deliver an inclusive message of change. I think he's going to talk about how this was a very hard-fought race and that there were a lot of tough things said on both sides. But now is the time to bring the country together, and that he looks forward to being that person in the presidency, in the Oval Office, to do that.
Karl Rove.
Well, he's going to do it his way. I don't know if he'll come out singing Frank Sinatra's tune or not, but he's going to do it his way. But again, I think Dana gave him sage advice. Maybe it's the half measure, come out and say, compliment everybody, thank everybody, express and exude optimism, and then tomorrow have a message that's oriented towards unifying the country and setting the tone for what's coming.
I don't see how you can claim victory when you haven't won the victory. There's not a single news organization. Now, the New York Times has him at 265 electoral votes. We have him at 254, other news organizations. But the consensus is that he has not yet won the presidency. So I think it would be foolish for him to claim victory. You can do a lot of things short of claiming victory, but you can't say I'm the president.
By the way, after your question at the debate, you heard Jennifer Griffin reference the plane flight where she asked Secretary Clinton, would you accept a defeat? We pulled that soundbite. Here it is.
Would you accept the results of the election?
You know, it was horrifying what he said on the debate table. We are a country based on laws, and we've had hot, contested elections going back to the very beginning. But one of our hallmarks has always been that we accept the outcomes of our elections. We do the best we can to have free and fair elections, which we do. And somebody wins and somebody loses.
So she answered the question, somebody wins, somebody loses. They're waiting to see an official win is basically what the campaign is saying.
No, and she said that we accept the result of the election. So, and she hasn't not accepted the result of the election. She said, we're going to wait till tomorrow.
But the odds, I mean, realistically.
No, I understand, but it isn't.
No, I'm not talking about whether she should concede, but I'm talking about just reality, because what people want right now at 2:30 in the morning is results. They want to know who won.
What people want.
But seriously, put it in perspective, Star. Let's see. Yes, they back me up.
They want it.
The chances right now, truly, the chances of Hillary Clinton managing to pull off a victory here are what, 2%?
Oh, who knows? I wouldn't even try. You're down to such a tight little crack that you'd have to run this thing through. It'd be impossible to say. But can I put it another way?
No. But it's not that impossible, because you could do it. It's virtually impossible for her to win at this point. Is that wrong?
No, it's not virtually impossible for her to win, but the odds, the preponderance, overwhelmingly against that. But if you're Hillary Clinton, you are going to leave the door open. I mean, you'd leave the door open too.
But I'm done talking about that. Whether she I get it. She wants to wait for the actual results. Got it. Check. Roger.
Right.
But the question is whether she actually still has a chance.
Yeah,
and
she still
realistically,
has a chance.
the answer is what?
Yeah, she still has a chance. What if it was 2%? What if it was 5%?
I feel like this is Dumb and Dumber. So you mean there's a chance?
But the other thing is,
pop culture, Chris.
What's the hurry? It's 2:30 in the morning, right? People at 2:30 in the morning would like calls. They'd also like pizza. They'd also like bed. People want a lot of things at 2:30 in the morning. For her and for him and for the country, there's no hurry. There's time. There's time to take your time and do it.
Well, obviously, he's not buying this advice from Dana or you or Carl or Monica. But what?
We don't know what he's going to say.
No, but he's not. But the fact that he's appearing runs the risk of aggravating the divide over this very close election.
On what he said.
But I think it's his instinct. I think that's the man we've come to know. It's not like he's a secret to us.
Can't we wait and see what he says?
Fine, but I'm just saying the decision to appear is a statement in and of itself, Chris.
I think had
Boy,
he
you
decided,
keep prejudging the guy.
I think if he had decided not to go over, that would have been fine. But the fact that he's going over and we can wait and see what he says, also fine.
It's going to be a long 4 years for Juan, I think.
Yeah, it might be. By the way, officially, we have called Missouri for Roy Blunt, the Republican. This was obviously after the Democrat had conceded Cantor, and we are calling that race, and that means that I guess we're not officially
Yeah, we're not.
there.
Still not, because of Louisiana.
Hey, it's 2:30 in the morning, all right?
Anticlimactic.
But I will say this, he might have had, the Democrat in this race, Cantor, might have had the best campaign ad of the entire season.
Right.
You know, he was putting together an AR-15 rifle blindfolded. A Democrat putting it together, and he showed that he was, you know, pro-gun in Missouri, criticized the establishment, Roy Blunt. He was actually closer to Trump than Roy Blunt was, as far as what he talked about.
Because he was the outsider.
Because he was like the outsider.
Right, because Roy Blunt has been in the Senate, well, in Washington for a long time. His wife is a lobbyist in Washington. His children work in the industry. And so Cantor was able to try to define Blunt as one of those insiders that you would want to drain the swamp from.
And Democrats felt really good. He was a 35-year-old Afghan war veteran.
Yeah, great
They thought
guy.
he had a really, really good chance.
In fact, that was
Secretary
considered
of
a
State.
safe seat for Republicans until Cantor got in and demonstrated that, in fact, he could constitute a legitimate challenge to Roy Blunt, and then money poured in.
But Donald Trump said
But it was
Roy
never
Blunt's vacant.
considered a seat that was automatically, you know, easily
Well,
challenged.
all this
as
time,
somebody
we've
who
been
helped-
talking about whether Trump would be a drag for these Republicans running for office in the Senate and the House. And it may turn out that Trump lifted them all up, and that some of these guys have their reelection. They have him to thank in part for their reelection.
Certainly Roy Blunt does.
If Trump had lost Missouri, Blunt would have lost as well. But the real person that Roy Blunt needs to thank for this is Barack Obama, because this was the most unusual Senate race in the country because it was effectively nationalized. This was